You never know what little remnants are left inside somewhere, so it's worth the effort just to go through it one more time.
Each piece that I touch is like a part of me. Every bolt and each nut, I know will set them free. I feel they count on me to bring them back again, and I will do my best until the very
Hello, my name's Ralph and welcome to the channel. It's my time, let's go. Well, as you seen last week, we got Margaret all apart here and got our new rocker boxes here. And today we're going to start putting the rocker boxes together, and then we're going to get at putting the heads together, I hope, on the bike. But it's Friday and it's in the afternoon and it's over 80 degrees out there, so it's too hot to ride out there today because the humidity's way up there. Hopefully this evening when it cools down a little, I'm going to go out for a ride. So I thought this afternoon is a good time for me to clean up these rocker boxes and get them ready to put the rocker arms in. Now I know these have been cleaned out and gone through, but we want to blow out all the line holes in between. Get your nozzle right down in there. Make sure to blow out between the passages, because that's where we'll get build up. And I know these were cleaned, but I need to give them a run through once myself because I can run my fingers in there and get them dirty, and that tells me that there's still a little bit in there. I'll get the air lines and blow them all out, but those passages in between are what I worry about build up in there, especially when stuff's been powder coated and it's been blasted and glass beaded. And you never know what little remnants are left inside somewhere, so it's worth the effort just to go through it one more time. Get as much as we can out of there. Alright, I grab my airline and get these good blowing out. There we go. Looks good. Nice and clean. Nice and clean. So, I'll set these aside for a second. Get my bench of spray. And then I get myself some nice clean rags to lay them down on. Because even though they're powder, they will scratch up. We'll try to be as careful as we can. So we're probably going to have to go through setting our shims and such again, because it's a different set of rocker boxes. We do have a small shim on that one, which was pretty close, so we'll just leave those there and put that on. We do want a little bit of oil to help them to slide in there nicely because they're dry. Oh. Need a little spacer. And like I say, I do have a couple shims on there, but it'll quickly tell us whether we're close or not. Let's just see, in case there's a little bit of powder in that end. I'm going to force it in there to start with because I may have to take it in and out, so I'm going to check and see. And yes, there is. There is a little bit of powder in the end of that. So if we'd have jammed that in there, we'd have had to beat it in and beat it out. I'm going to take that out. Yeah, I'm going to take a minute and I'm going to clean that hole out and make sure that there's no powder in there so that the end of it will slide through nice and evenly. So I'll take a moment and do that. So once again, I'll just get my little rod tool out there that I've shown you before I've used, and wrapped a piece of sandpaper around it. Just light grit. I think this is 600 grit. We don't want to remove any material. We just want to get any of that powder that might happen to be there. So we're going to wrap that as tight as we can. And it should fit in the hole. Still looking like a little tiny bit in there. All right, we're gonna have to work on that one there. So let's see where we can make out with this one. Go. It's all the way you hold your mouse sometimes. It can be a little tricky to get in there. The clearance on these, we want to have 4 thou clearance, minimal. Let's try. Well, looks like quite a bit there. Almost. Put a 13 in there. 13. 13. So I want about 9. 8. See what we got for shims on that. So I'm going to put an 8 thou shim here. 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. It's going to be 5 thou. So let's try that one in there. Oh, and we do have one in there already on this. Stick the other one on. I knew one of them had quite a bit. These up. This one in here, then we can certainly tighten it up. And that's what we want. Because it could tighten up another 3 or 4 thousandths of an inch. And 5. Get a 4 in there, no problem. So that looks good. Looks good on that one, and on this one. Did we say we were there? Let me see. Let's try a 10 in there. Yeah, I get a 10. Just an 11. Just get an 11 in there. So 11, and I need either a 5 or they don't make a 6, so. We'll go with the 5. And we have nothing on there, and these always go on this end so that they can't fall out on you. Put them on this end of the shaft, then you can slide it through, and there's no way that they'll fall out or anything like that if things happen to be pulled out. So. A little snug, but the 4 slides right in there. So we're 4 thou. There'll be no rattling and banging around in the top from the rocker arms. So, that one looks good. Just a quick blow, just in case. All right. Okie doke. Slide that one in. Spacer. And we do have a shim on there, so I think I'll try it. Just see where we're at. Got like 9 in that one, so I can't really put one in. The smallest spacer I have is a 5. 6, 7, 8, 9. Leaves it pretty close. So I think I'll take it off and see what the spacers were that were in it there. And then I can go from there as to what I want to stack up to make it fit proper. I've got like an 11 in there and a 9, 4, 5, 6. So maybe if I put, that's supposed to be a 10 for all intents and purposes. 10, 11, 10, 14. So I'm gonna get my shims, and I could probably put 2 7s in there, and that would bring me right in where I wanna be. So I've got some 7th hour shims here, so I'm looking to make up 4, so it'll be about like 14. I put a couple of them in. They're very small, make sure you don't have them stuck together. That's giving me 14 in there, so it should give me 4 or 5 thou clearance. All things being as they should be. Yeah, we're shooting for a 4, an easy 4 probably. Yep, just get a 4 in there. Probably force a 5 in there, but not quite. So 4th out. We're looking for a nice fit. 1 to go. Slide the rocker in, slide your spacer in. Now there's different ways you can do it. You can put the shims in there, or some guys will choose to make a new washer. You know, you can make a washer that's so many thousandths of an inch bigger to make a better fit, but the shims work quite efficiently, and I don't see the need for that unless of course it's way out. If you have a big problem, then you could consider that the washer may need to be replaced in there, and you could spin out the proper thickness of a washer that you'd like to have. That looks pretty good in there. Just get a 4 in. A 5. Just a snug 6 in there, so that's going to be fine. That's going to be fine when she's all tightened up in there. We'll be all good. Takes a little bit of time, but there can be a lot of noise generated up in the top if your rocker arms are way wiggly and loose. And it's important that you don't get them binding. Okay. Alright. So we're just going to put a little Loctite on these nuts on the ends. And they're torqued 12 to 18 pounds. We're going to set it at 14. And you always pull a little extra for sure. So a little dab of Loctite. And as you can see with Margaret's rocker boxes now, just like new rocker boxes practically, and we have brand new rocker arms, brand new shafts. So it should be all good. All right, just lock up the other end here. I'm 14 pounds. Let's see where we're at. these ones on the ends of the screws, they say are 8 to 12, so 10.5 on there, middle. Okay, now that we're torque tight, I do want to check it. Hopefully I won't have to take it apart, but okay, no problem there. And no problem there. Those ones are good to go. So, 14.5 there. She's spinning the other one. We are. All right. Now we just have our little oil line fittings to put in. And to do that, we're going to take a little bit of thread sealer and kind of try and keep it off of the wrinkle. There we go. And that one's done. So that takes care of putting the rocker boxes together. Next thing we got to do is put them on the heads. So the heads are all cleaned and they're all ready to go. So I don't see any reason why we can't start doing that. Also, I just want to double check this last one because I didn't check it. Once it was torqued. Yep, 4, no problem. Okay, just going to clean up a little bit here and get organized, make some room, and then we'll start putting the heads together, put the rockers on. So now we're going to get our rocker boxes on our heads, and we've got our front head, so we know that it's our front one, and we're going to make sure to use the front rocker box. This is the rear rocker box, which has 2 fittings. The rear one goes down to the case. So we need the other rocker box, which is this one here. And the easiest way to put them on is like this. Set them down. That way the rocker arms all sit down in there. And they can be, you know, hard to get on sometimes, and you got to tap them on and such. And it's hard to keep the rocker arms in place. So what we're trying to do is make it as easy as we can. All right, everything else is clean and good to go. So we'll put our gasket on. And these are James gaskets. They're 30 thousandths of an inch thick, so they're good thick gaskets for the rockers. All right, so on she goes. Let's hope that it's not too much of a pain. And before I do that, I'll tell you what I'd like to do before I do that is wire brush all of these threads. Now I didn't do that, and I should have. So I'm going to take a moment and do that right now, because when I go to put my nuts on, of which I probably going to have to go with the acorns because I ordered a new set of nuts over a week ago from Mid-USA, and I still don't have them. So God knows when they'll even come. So we're just going to cover this up a little bit. Clean these threads off. There's a lot of crud on them. There's nothing worse than trying to put nuts on if the threads They're full of old crap, Loctite, etc. And they can bind up in there, and you just don't know what the problem is. All right, that looks way better, way better. So one more little blowout. Here we are. We'll dry our surfaces off. Okay. Put James' gasket back on. Get her lined up, and hopefully she'll go down on there without too much trouble. Here we are. One. Take a minute and do the same thing here. Clean those threads off. Gasket. Make sure our surfaces are dry there. And just hold the gasket up with our fingers. To say I ordered new nuts and stuff, I would have preferred to use them, but sometimes these are supposed to be tall in there, but you know, if you got one sticking up, it could create a problem. Oh well, it is what it is. What do we got here? This is the rear one, so I'm going to leave those two out. They're going to be left off. I'm just going to stick the nut on there for the time being so I know where it is. But these ones will have to come off in order to get that on there. And those are going to be 12 to 14 pounds. Set that up. 10. A little touch of Loctite. Each one, little drip. One. And there we go. We just leave these two loose so that we can slide the head in. We know that it's a problem there trying to get it to fit. So we just leave those off. We can easily hand tighten those. Okay. So this would be a good way to end off the day on a Friday. Sunlight playing havoc with me today, coming in the window. And then come Monday or maybe tomorrow, depending on what it's like. If it's too hot to go outside, I'll probably work. You always want to get things done, especially when you're older. You never know what can happen. Just lost a wonderful sort of family member. My wife's brother's girlfriend, he's in his 80s, and she had some medical issues and unforeseen, and went in the hospital, and just passed away yesterday. So, very, very, very unexpected. Devastating to say the least. She was a wonderful lady. Don't know what all the details have happened are, but it's really irrelevant. It's happened. Okay, 12 to 14. Here we go. There we go. So, Margaret's got a new top on her, a new bikini top, and she'll be excited. I know she will be. I didn't have the heart to leave it with the other ones on there. It's put so much work into her, and to have to look at it and see that every day, I couldn't live with it. So now this is a great addition, and I feel really good about it. You know, the work end of it, you always find reasons to put it off, but once you do the work, you're glad you did. So, looks like that'll be about it for today. We'll follow up starting either tomorrow or Monday, whenever we get around to it. Okay. So today we're going to work away getting the heads on there. It's scorching hot out. It's too hot to go out and ride around even. You know, those days when it gets like that, you just it's so bloody hot you can't take it. So it stays cool in here with the cement floors and such, and I haven't turned the air conditioning on yet, but I am thinking about it. We'll see how it goes. So I've got a set of new James gaskets. These are fire ring gaskets from James, and they're the type that I like to use those if I can, when I can get them. Sometimes I can't, so I use something else, but if I've got a chance, I prefer these. So we'll put this little one out there. We'll make sure that we have our gasket in the right place. Now there, I'm just looking at it and lining up the oil hole, but the gasket's not lining up with the holes. So we've got to flip the gasket this way. There we go. And double check that all our holes are lined up and make sure that your oil hole is clear. Sounds stupid, but it's an easy mistake to make, to get it in there and get it flipped the wrong way and bolt holes start to line up and stuff. So just double check that. Now I've got to get my other head, which I've got the 2 rear bolts loose on, so that I can slide them up through here. So let's see if we can get it in. All right, ever so gently. Just ease it on in there. There we go. Just dropped into place. And we've wire wheeled our head bolts all off again, made sure they're nice and clean. And right now I'm just going to put a coating of oil on them. I can't really get at this one in here, so we'll have to go with it the way it is. Some of them you can't get off because of the cylinder. The rest are, so just see if we can get the first hole going there. That one started. Let's see if we'll get the 3 on the other side. Started. And one more in the rear. I'm just going to go around with this little box end tool that I have, and it makes it easy to get in there like that. And I'm looking for my 9/16. I've got a 9/16 extension with a socket on it, I believe. So I've also got this with a universal end on it. I wish I had a small 1/4-inch drive one. Would make it a lot easier. I've used those for like 7/16 bolts and they work great. So I'm going to go ahead and work on getting those all snugged up into place. Then I'm going to grab my front head, get it on, get them all snugged up into place. Once I've got all that done, then the plan is to line the heads up. As you can see, there's some movement here in the heads, so we're going to line them up so that our intake manifold fits on between the heads. So I'll come back when I've got those things snugged up. And just before we go and cinch those heads down and tighten them down, you want to take your rod that goes from the case up to the head. This is a good time to put it in right now. If you don't, afterwards you're going to have to bend it all out of shape to try and get it in, or you can drill it out. Oops. Drill the fittings out. I've heard guys talk about drilling the fittings out so it'll slide up, you know, in there afterwards. But I've got it set into position there, and it's just loose. I'll fit that in afterwards, but we want to make sure that we've got that in place before we put the heads on. Oh, I'll have to use a little handle on that one. Some places they work, some places they don't. We just move along with this. Works just as fast for me. Now we get the rag out of here. Out of there. Make sure our surface is nice and dry. Get our gasket on, again watching our holes. And my front head. And we'll get this one started in there. That's already there. Wow, they look pretty good on there. I'm glad I went that route. Now, before we tighten anything up, we need our top crossover line. Yeah, we got to remember to stick this in before we tighten those down. I'm going to straighten that out a little bit. That's just barely touching there, and with it barely touching, you could have a chance of the rubbers getting squished out and not allowing it to go across. So I'm just going to go and bend that a little tiny bit, straighten it out, and then put it back on. So when we go to put this in here, you can see that the rubbers are a ways back from the ends, and you want to make sure that they're both back a little ways from it. So when you put these in, you can see they'll slide either way. And this one, so we can see that we know we've got, you know, a little bit sticking out the edge, and that way you won't compress that in those rubbers. If it happens to go one way, far that way or something, and then you can see how the rubber could go over and clamp off and shut off that line to the front head or from the rear, whichever way it would be. So I don't have these in place yet, but I am going to just lightly put those nuts on there, so that it's not going to allow my rubbers to move or for this to fall out while I'm working on it. Well, we can still move the rocker boxes around, but those won't fall out of place. So what I have to do now is go along and get all my head bolts in. And I'm going to do the same procedure as I did on the front head. You know, just get them in lightly. They're all oiled. Be sure to oil them and get them started in the holes. So I'm going to go around, get all my head bolts in, get them snugged up, you know, approximately where they should be before I start torquing. Then we're going to fit the manifold to make sure that it's fitting properly. So now we're going to take our manifold and fit this. And this is a very important step to do with these. You want to make them sure they fit right. If you just bolt your heads down, these, you know, can be way off. Now I know that it's hard to see from any angle here, but I can see that I'm fitting on the rear one here, but my front one has a large gap in the front of it here, and it's pretty obvious to see from here. Fit it to the rear head, and there's a gap in here. And you can see when I fit the head, turn the heads, and play with them, you'll find the best spot where they're fitting all the way around with no gaps. So that's what we're gonna have to do, is take it and move our heads around and get it in the best position that we can to get it to fit. Once we've got it close to where we want it, we'll snug up a couple bolts around there, and then we'll check it again to make sure that it's right. So if you enjoyed this video today, like, subscribe, comment, ring the bell, do those kind of things. It helps us to grow. Well, Margaret's coming together and I'm feeling good about that. We've got our head slipped on, and I think by the end of next week's video, we'll have her all ready and out for a ride. Be sure to stick around next week because we got something coming in. I'm hoping. It's been waiting for a delivery, and it's kind of an exciting project and something that I'm excited about getting into. Be sure to check out my brothers down south, Hippie's Chopper Corner, Slickheads Custom Cycles. Hip's got a biker build-off coming up, so stay tuned with that. I'm sure we'll find that interesting as it goes. And Slick, as always, has got us out and running around, and we're getting to see everything down there. So check them out. Hippie's Chopper Corner, Slickheads Custom Cycles. Special thanks to Glenn this week for contributing to Buy Me a Coffee. I appreciate it, Glenn. Thank you very much, and I appreciate each and every one of you that takes the time to go and buy me a coffee. So if you find something that's interesting, maybe you learn something, maybe it's just entertainment, and you enjoy the time you spend here and you want to help the channel out, buy me a coffee. Thank you all. All right, stick around to the end of the video when we got something a little different this week. I got a ballad coming up for you. It's just whatever kind of mood you're in is the kind of music that you write. So I hope you enjoy this one. It's a little bit different. It's called Every Piece That I Touch. Thanks very much, and I'll see you next week.
Sometimes the days seem long as each one passes by, not getting any younger. And sometimes I wonder why. One day and then another, always strive to do my best. But there are many times this old body needs a rest. Getting the rockers right. I have been here before. Another day, another job. Again, it's out the door. The body moans and whines, but we keep moving on. In my life's quest, until my days are gone, each piece that I touch is like a part of me. Every bolt and each nut, I know will set them free. I feel they count on me to bring them back again. And I will do my best until the very end. Make sure the clearance is right. It is a critical stage. If you get them to lose, they will react with rage. Talking each one right, a step that can't be missed. You can't go too fast, but still you must persist. Fit the heads on right, each gasket in place. Small oil lines on, each one has its place. Line the manifold up, the heads must be right. One